We're live now, by the way.
Really?
So,
first in person.
first
Doing it
in-person
live.
interview.
Yeah.
Outside the Lines, still the highest rated show that we have, most viewed, thousands of views on our socials, and our highest downloads at 2,000 downloads on Apple Music, 2,000 on Spotify. The man, the myth, the legend behind his original fake name of Jamie Bell.
I'm here now.
He's back.
I'm in the flesh.
We got the face back.
I have now have a job where I can do this. I can.
Come out of the shadows a little bit.
I don't have to be behind an alias anymore, and in person. And when Emmett reached out and he wanted to have me back on, I said, okay, first off, I'm done with the alias. And second off, we're not doing it on Zoom. We're going to do it in person, baby. So we're going to do it live. I said, there's no way I can, we're in 2023. It's over.
COVID's done with.
I can sit here with you and just have a good time. So this is my first time ever doing something like this. First time ever speaking into a mic. I'm going to have a best man speech coming up next year, so I better get used to it.
It's good practice.
It is.
Have you thought about, are you going to be the phone guy? Or are you
No, I'm not going to be the anything guy. Okay. I'm just going to go up there and just going to come straight from here, but mostly from here, But no, I'm not going to have a piece of paper. I think, that stuff is, it's just, you should know what you're going to say, especially
you saw
if you're a best man.
With mine, the
what did
the maid of honor had her, like a full printed out 3-page essay written.
I have a lot. Yeah, I mean, it really depends who you are. I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with public speaking, so I can just rip it.
Yeah, you schmooze clients all day.
But yeah, man, it's a pleasure. I love the studio's nice, beautiful area here. Can't go wrong with Newport. So
yeah, it's live and well in Newport. Perry Clubhouse. Shout out the Germans out there that are supporting. Paul Ripke, thank you very much, sir. Good to have you here. But today, got a list of things going on. We're not going to dive too much into what's happening in the political realm, but talk about what that has an impact on us, and we'll jump around to different topics.
Definitely has an impact, man. I mean,
where would you like to start on this laundry list of things that we've got? Won't list them all, but kind of mentioned we've got the economics of what we've got going on here with now fighting at 2 wars. How is that affecting us economically? Would you see this ending anytime soon? What's your kind of take on it?
Well, if we step back, let's just step back and talk about rates. And one thing that you mentioned to me when we were talking before this is, why aren't stocks down more?
Yes. What's happening with this whole
why aren't stocks down more?
Why is nothing in the dump?
Let's call it. Off the top of my head, we're 10% off all-time highs, 10, 12, I don't know, maybe 15% off all-time highs. The major indices. So the large cap stocks, Apple, Microsoft, really, if you've hung in there and bought dips, you're still doing okay.
Yeah. I
don't think that those 4 or 5 stocks really encompass all the damage that's been going on everywhere else in the market. I mean, there's a lot of the popular names that were popular back in 2021. The AMC's, GameStops. I mean, I don't even know where those are anymore, but pretty much that kind of small cap space, smaller companies. A lot of those charts are completely ruined. They haven't. Who knows? I mean, even the work from home stocks, right?
Yeah.
Peloton, Zoom. I mean, we all know what happened to those. I mean, it's a shit show. They're completely done for. So
why do you think that is? So we've been hearing, you listen to any talking news head, they've been screaming that correction. The financial system's going to collapse this year, next year, 2022, 2023. We're 3 years into this of them screaming that.
Yeah.
What's been that kind of?
A year ago, stocks bottomed in early October. Remember, we had a nasty, it looked like the financial system was breaking a year ago. The S&P was bottomed at like around 3,500, which was levels that hadn't been seen since 2020. So if you bought stocks in 2020, you were even going into October of 2022. It was pretty nasty. People were freaking out, and out of nowhere, it was just really weird. Like on a button, things kind of ended up being okay. And this year's been okay. We're sitting here. What's today? October.
Yeah.
What's today? Is it 20th?
20th?
Saturday?
Yeah.
So this week, I don't know when this episode comes up. This week, stocks are getting absolutely killed. They're getting absolutely smoked. So, and who knows what happens next week or for the rest of the year. But, it's been a good year. It's been a bit choppy, but, the larger, it's pretty much the market's just pretty much getting carried by Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, those companies. Everything else really, I mean, where else could you be investing where you're just like, yeah, I'm doing okay. I can't think of any. I mean, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's a couple other larger companies out there that are doing okay, but I don't know. So when people say like, oh, why aren't stocks down more? Well, it's because Apple and Microsoft are doing well. That's why the indices aren't down more. That's kind of my take on it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what can get those stocks down.
I don't know what will.
Yeah, it's never really happened before. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. If you look back at the charts in October, stocks are getting completely destroyed, and out of nowhere, we're having a good year as rates keep ripping up in all of our faces and affecting multiple industries and affecting home buyers and the real estate market. Multifamily commercial is getting super shaky with all these adjustable rate mortgages. I mean, every single month that goes by, a new 7-to-1 arm pretty much comes to expiration.
Yeah.
Right. So all of these deals that were getting done back in 2016, 2015, 2016 time, all of those rates are resetting now. And I think as we start to see, because like when rates rise, it's like, okay, this sucks. It really just affects like new deals. But then what about those existing properties that people are holding on to? It's like, well, those are fine because most people lock in 5-to-1, 7-to-1. But as the months and the years go on, I think it starts to get pretty shaky.
And so who is that affecting more? Is that like commercial guys, like the resident, or is that more
office?
Okay.
I mean, office real estate is just, I couldn't think of an asset class that couldn't be in a worse spot. I mean, we all see the news. I see a lot of things about, LA office space. I mean, there's office buildings being sold in Los Angeles for prices lower than they were being sold back in 2012.
Yeah.
Like there's literally people that, not people, but smart investors and guys that know what they're doing that bought office space in 2011 at the depths of the financial crisis, and it's just like, congratulations, your property is worth less than it was back then, because unlike residential real estate, that kind of the valuation is really who knows. It's really based on the hopes and dreams and the ever rising salaries of Americans. Office real estate is based off tenant occupancy and cash flow and money.
That's
it. It's not based on the hopes and dreams and living on the beach and this is a nice area, I get to send my kids to school. Like, no, this is cut and dry. Like it's all about the cash flow, and there is no money in big time office space right now. I mean, for many reasons, but and I was saying before COVID that we had way too much office space in America in general. Like that, like when I would talk to people in real estate, this is before I even knew that there was going to be a pandemic. I said, in general, I think there is too much office space in America. It just doesn't make sense to me personally.
Do you think that's like a region-based issue? Obviously, with New York, there's always going to be office. That's going to be king. But like in LA,
even New York's having trouble though. There's a lot of I mean, look at these. A lot of these office REITs are publicly traded. They're trading at like low. They're trading at like '08 levels. Like a lot of these companies are literally on the brink of going bankrupt. They're done because not only do you have the occupancy issue, you have rates. Oh my god! And a lot of these office space investors, they don't even do 7-to-1, 5-to-1 arms. They just do 1 to, like, it resets every year, because that's the only way they can get the deal done. They want to put down as low as as little money as they possibly can, and they'll even float it sometimes. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's, when you get into like big time buildings, there's a lot of different ways you can buy it. So, and no matter which way you cut it, or how you buy um, one of those buildings, it's rising rates, and when rates stay high for 1, 2, 3 years, it gets really nasty. So, office space is definitely one of those, one of those canaries.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what can really happen? And we had how many regional banks earlier this year completely go belly up? Was it, there's three off the top of my head, and there's going to be more, because most regional banks, over 50% of their mortgage book is tied to commercial real estate. And not all commercial real estate is created equal, but a lot of their book has to be office space. And office space is not turning around. I'm sorry to anyone that watches this podcast that's in that kind of industry. You can come at me. Comment below and tell me why I'm wrong. But I mean, I am in a.
In your defense, you are not wrong very often. If you go back and look at your predictions,
I work at a Class A office building on the west side of Los Angeles, and it's empty.
Yeah.
Our floor is empty, and the company I work for, we got an incredible deal. We got an incredible lease. They've set, and it was only because, like, they are literally begging people to come to this office.
Yeah.
On the west side, beautiful views of Santa Monica, Westwood, all the way to downtown, and it's literally empty. They're using the top floor of the parking structure. They're renting it out to a used car dealership.
I can attest the same thing is happening at my office building, and it's a nice place in Irvine. It's the same thing. 75% is just unoccupied. And where you're
are they leasing out portion of the parking structure to a used car dealer?
They're leasing it out to Hertz. So Hertz.
There you go. So I mean, hey, maybe office. That's great. The office building industry is great. You could just lease out your parking structures. That's how you make money. Maybe that's the cash cow.
That's
maybe
the new
it's not about the suites. It's about the parking structure. Yeah. So look, it's tough. I think the danger in it is that there's loans tied to these buildings, and the loans are underwater. The banks are underwater on the loans because the loans probably aren't going to get paid.
Yeah.
And the banks probably lent too much on the property because the property's not worth what they lent it on. So, I don't want to give away too much, but there is a regional bank in Los Angeles that's, I know it's not, I don't think it's going to end very well. And there's already one, First Republic, they had to get bailed out by JP Morgan. But there's a lot of LA-based regional banks. It's really the regional banks that are based on the coast, and it's office space on the coast. I can't really speak to office space in the Midwest or in Texas. I don't know, but as far as LA goes, it's a complete mess. It's so bad. It's a great time if you want to find a place for your company. You can get a great lease.
Yeah,
they'll beg you. They might pay you to go. But other than that, residential real estate's been totally fine.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's great.
All I hear about is
how it's going to go down.
I hear complainings from real estate agents. The market's so slow. I can't sell
because there's no transactions. But as far as prices go, as far as like comps go, it's totally fine.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. But, real estate's up this year. Residential real estate. We always have to make that distinction. Residential real estate's up this year somehow. Rates going up, prices going up. Who would have thought?
I mean, that's like another
I can't even explain that.
It's low supply. Obviously, no one is moving from their homes. Rent's so expensive. No one wants to sell with the prices. No one wants to pay with the rates so high, and the price is so high.
How long is that going to last? And that's just residential real estate in America has always been just a super tricky one. It's really just tied to employment, and that's for the numbers say that's really hung in there. So
it's been really strong
Yeah,
It's another thing of like everyone's saying there's doom and gloom, but
yeah,
employment's really held on.
yeah. Residential real estate, how I see it, is just really tied to employment, and if that's hanging in there, I mean, we'll see. I think residential real estate, not only in America, but there's stories like in Australia and Canada. It's just way too overpriced.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people our age that are. I mean, these people, and rightfully so. They're just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to buy a place, and yeah, it's crazy. But I think residential real estate prices will come down. It's just nothing really happens when rates get risen, especially this fast, because historically speaking, rates are supposed to get hiked slowly
Yeah.
over
Over
time.
gradual increase.
It was just like
Hockey stick.
they literally just started.
Yeah.
They just bought, they just said, screw it. We're raising it. We're going from 0 to 5, like literally in like a year.
It seems like it
Um,
happened overnight.
yeah. So, and then it's funny, a year and a half ago, they told us that inflation was going to be transitory.
Yeah.
And that they would never have to raise rates, and maybe we only have to raise them to 1%, and inflation's transitory, and it's going to go away right away. Don't worry, it's going away. It's like a blip in data, and just they were just so wrong about that. And then now what they're telling us is inflation's super sticky. It's going to stay around. We're going to keep rates higher for longer. It's kind of what they're saying: higher for longer, higher for longer. So my inclination is just like, okay. So they told us inflation was transitory a year and a half ago, and then they just jacked them in our face at the fastest rate ever. And then now they're telling us inflation's going to stick around. So my inclination is just like, I don't know. I probably would take the other side of that. But they're going to be stubborn to lower them, I think.
Yeah.
I think inflation's going to come down because the data is just the data lags, and the data that they're using, I'm not the biggest fan of. But because
who does that help? Like higher for longer. Who does that?
nobody.
Okay.
It should help the banks because of net interest margins. However, it doesn't help when there's a lot of I don't want to get too technical, but cash sorting. So when clients kind of realize that you're paying me 0% in cash, I'm going to go buy treasuries. That's where, but for like a blip, it does help them. It helps banks if their entire loan book isn't tied to office space. But
True.
yeah, so for the regional banks, higher rates, but higher rates are technically supposed to help the big banks, the Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, because I don't know about you, are you getting paid 5% interest on your checking account? I'm not. Your checking account, I'm getting paid 0 still. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they all just still pay 0.
I'm at 4.2.
And your checking account? With
Yeah.
who?
SoFi.
Okay, there you go. Smart guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Wells
I've
Fargo.
got a couple different, obviously a couple different accounts, but
Go
like
open
the ones...
go open a checking account with Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
You're getting 0. So that's why it helps those banks, right? But good move by going with SoFi. There you go.
Yeah.
Good for SoFi. I don't know how they afford the stadium, but
That's so I was gonna say I don't know how much longer my money's gonna be there for, but
yeah,
that's a whole other story.
FDIC insurance. Thank God.
Yeah,
So
that
you're good.
business is something else, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we had Silicon Valley Bank that they literally went belly up because of rates getting risen too fast.
Yeah,
rates got risen too fast, and Silicon Valley's funny. They do a lot of interest only 30-year mortgages for residential, which some banks do, but it's very rare. It's only to like certain clients, but they got hurt with that as well. But yeah, there was just certain things that they were doing. It was a little finicky, but yeah, the rates got risen too high for them. Too much. Their assets were tied to, they went out and they bought like 10-year treasury bonds at like 1%. They just literally like dropped the bag on like 10-year bonds like back in like early 2021 for no reason. Like they're like still wondering like who cleared that. and then all of a sudden rates rise and those bonds are like worth nothing.
Where does that data come from to where they make that big of a decision?
I don't know.
Like, who is
I don't know.
signing off on that?
Stupid. Now they're done. Now they literally, but they probably all have jobs now. But all the taxes we pay, it's fine. Just let's wash it over. Well, I don't even know if was it taxpayer money or did J.P. Morgan come either way. Our money went there somewhere.
Somehow.
I'm sure. Yeah, J.P. Morgan I think came in. I don't know. So J.P. Morgan for sure took a hold of First Republic.
Yeah.
And I think First Republic's deal was pretty much the same thing. They had too many of their assets were tied to low yielding bonds. And when rates rise, your low yielding bonds are just worth basically nothing. I mean, they're worth something. Someone will take them from you, but at prices that are a lot lower than you paid for. They want 80 cents on the dollar. If you're collecting 1% interest on a bond, it's just like, do the math. It's like, what do you want for you're gonna want to pay a very steep discount for that. So I think that's what happened. First Public probably had a lot of other issues too. Probably their loans are tied to office space.
Some information about an LA-based bank. Is that going to be something that's?
I mean, it's
to go into the specific of the LA.
They
bank.
were gonna go. They were done, and then somehow they weren't. So people can just. With that, they were there was headlines that they were literally done.
Yeah,
they were done to the point where I saw people in the office not coming to work, and I was like, "Damn, they're really done." And then all of a sudden, like a week later, they're all there. I'm just like, "That's interesting." And they didn't get a bailout, but yeah, they're able to. I don't know, but they're a big real estate lender for big buildings, and unfortunately, some of those big buildings don't work out. Most of them work out great, but some of them don't.
It happens.
Yeah.
So I know we want to touch on inflation a little bit, and do we see that? I mean, consumer confidence is at I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bubble down here where I see people out all the time. People are spending money, like buying new cars. Is that the case with the rest of the country? What's that? How is inflation gonna go down a little bit at least? Because I see it on all my checks when I go out to eat. It's definitely noticeable on
I think
food purchases.
Can't pay my credit card bill as a Google search. Is it?
It's through the roof.
Frequents that, and that's one thing. So, look, never bet against the U.S. consumer with spending money, but at some point, it has to stop because, I can keep swiping my credit card, right? Yeah. I can keep doing it, but there comes a point where it all goes to shit. So I think that's what people are doing. Honestly, I've heard stories that I think people are doing the credit card thing, the credit card churning, the balance transfers. I think it's not all people. And look, you see it here in Newport Beach, right? These people have money, they have great jobs, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like and
a little different.
That's pretty much that's pretty much what America is coming to. There's the people that have it, and then there's the people that don't. And it's like that's why it's important to always be prudent with your money, because there's going to come times where it sucks. It's like lunch is like $25, just like holy smokes.
I also talked to a buddy of mine who lives in the Midwest, and he's not on like the best side of that coin. Of he's got a bunch of credit card debt, things like that. But even to him, it's the minimum payment is $125. I think the majority of Americans can afford $125 on the credit card spend that they have, and like you mentioned with balance transfers and
0% APR for the first 15 months. You can, dude, if
Wells Fargo's offering one at 21 months.
Yeah, you can hold this over. So I think that's what people are doing. And look, we had this here in LA, we had like a 2.5 year pandemic. We're just getting
we're the ones that got screwed over here.
We had a pandemic for a while, so it's just like people kind of coop up, and what do you want to go out, you want to enjoy yourself. Let's see what happens in the holidays. I think I think going into the holidays with kind of where people are at, and the credit card data doesn't look good, and credit card balances are like the highest they've ever been. And I think there's probably one last hurrah in the holidays, and it's not like everyone's going to go bankrupt, but I think people are just going to be like, okay, this has kind of gone too far.
Yeah.
Like, but people have to spend money because I mean, yeah, what am I going to not eat? When I go full monk mode and just not eat for like 2 weeks, not drink any water. So yeah, like
At the state you're in, you might.
Yeah,
work all day, pickle at night.
Yeah,
just go grind full, in the morning.
Go full monk mode. Intermittent fast for 3 weeks. But
so, with that being said, is there an incentive for someone to step in? Like, does credit card companies, do they cut the people a break a little bit, or do agencies step in and say like Biden's trying to forgive everyone's debt here?
Yeah. Or like, yeah, they're trying to like cap interest rates too on credit cards as well. Yeah, I don't know, like, for anything they get passed by the government, I can't bank on that. But
because we're also in an interesting situation with it being coming up to an election year. So
that's I think if you talk to a lot of like real estate agents, I think everyone kind of the consensus is like rates have to come down before the election because the incumbent party understands that besides gas prices, rates are really like a large correlation to getting reelected.
Well, I've heard like kind of like anecdotally the same thing of gas prices. That's another.
So gas price, like literally, like the only like factor of getting reelected, like they pull the data is literally like gas prices.
Yeah,
that's like literally it. You could literally go and say whatever you want, like as long as gas prices are low, like you'll get reelected.
We have diehard Democrats at the gym I go to.
Okay,
they have since denounced Biden and the entire Democratic Party because their gas is so high.
Yeah, it costs like $15 to drive to the gym.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It's
that's a joke. Welcome to California. Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, so kind of the consensus is like, whatever happens behind the scenes, they're gonna kind of nudge the Fed and be like, hey, can you at least maybe give us a 50 bip cut, next spring or next summer, or at least give some verbiage as far as, hey, maybe in 2025 we start to cut rates, or maybe, in late 2024 we start to cut rates. I think the trouble that we may get into is the Fed could start cutting rates not for the right reasons.
What would that look like? Because I mean,
bad things happening. More banks going out.
That's understandable. What reasons would they have to start cutting rates for that side of the coin?
When inflation goes down for the wrong reasons, because of consumer demand.
Okay.
Kind of like how we saw in 2020 when it's like there's no consumer demand. Well, it's like because we're all locked in our houses.
Yeah.
It's never going to get to that point, but I just don't see this lot. It's just the credit card thing for me. The credit card balances being so high. That's kind of, there's no way around that,
My thing is like they're still issuing new credit cards. Like these people are still getting approved.
How long is that going to last? Again, it's kind of just like the financial crisis thing, Like how long like back in the day, how long can this last,
Yeah.
Right? It's just I don't know. It's too many Americans, yeah. And it's like the average credit card balance is what's kind of spooking me a little bit, because it's just like, are we really gonna bank on like everyone being like, yeah, I'm gonna be super responsible, pay this down? And I really don't see salaries getting risen for any reason. I think the side of the chair that's in power now is kind of going to be employers now, especially with like you have to come into the office and stuff like that. So I don't know. I have no inclination to be involved in stocks right now. I'm not. I haven't even told you that, but
no.
I mean, there's just personal stuff. Like, I bought a place earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, with my money, I'm just getting my 5% and change in the treasury market. And I feel like I wish I would have bought the dip last year, but I was out of stocks basically completely by at some point in 2022.
Yeah, because I remember when we,
Like summer of 22, I want to
yeah,
say. And for me, like, me, like, it would never be like I'm selling everything today. Like, it was
no, it
overtime.
was a
It
like
was
you said,
overtime. It
you
was kind
mentioned
of
like,
just like,
oh, I'm gonna start kind of selling here and there, and probably just eventually start liquidating everything, and
yeah,
that's
because
when
I
it.
saw there. It's just like, okay, if the Fed's going to start raising rates, I need to sell my stocks, and then slowly but surely, I'm going to start finally for pretty much the first time in my professional career, start like getting paid this thing called interest. It's a crazy concept. That people our age really don't know. And I
No,
until this point, rates have been at zero for basically like the majority of my life. I mean, so finally, for the first time, you could have a checking account paying you
yeah,
4.2%. That's awesome. You can get a savings account that pays probably a little bit more than that. And then there's other vehicles. There's treasury money market funds, there's T-bills. And then if you want to take a little bit more risk, you could, buy 30-year treasury ETFs, 10-year treasury ETFs, which are getting completely smoked right now, to my dismay. You think stocks go down fast? Try 30-year treasuries. You guys, do you think stocks go down fast? Try 30-year treasury bonds. Those go down really fast when rates are rising. So that's kind of the spots I'm picking right now. Um, but most of my money is in kind of treasury money market, 1 to 3 year. I'm kind of keeping it short.
yeah,
So not losing money there, just collecting my five and change wherever it's at right now. And then slowly but surely, buying 30-year treasury ETFs, which those it's like moves like 2% a day. Bonds, because rates are just whiplashing everywhere. So, but eventually, I do think I don't foresee I don't think we get higher rates for as long as the Fed is saying. I think that's where I'm trying to get to.
okay, all right. This is good news.
I don't think it's going to be for as long. And but unfortunately, I think it's going to be for not the right reasons. It's not going to be like, hey, we're cutting rates. It's not going to be like that thing where like Trump told Jay Powell, like, I need you to cut rates or or you're not going to have a job anymore.
Yeah,
You know, he literally told him that. It's like, if you don't cut rates, like, you're literally.
yeah. You won't last long around here if
Yeah.
you don't
So
start doing what I'm
so
saying.
he kind of cut rates like when the economy was fine. Like, it's not going to be like one of those things, like, because they're pretty steadfast. It's like, we're not cutting rates until we need to. And unfortunately, like, when you need to cut rates, when you need to, it's just like, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't want to get involved in stocks right now. I'm kind of like trying to get my fix because it's been like it's been like, I
Yeah.
swear, it's been like so long, and I still poke around here, but it's just like, why? Like, most dividend, like, it's just like, why am I don't know.
Well,
I just
you were a
don't.
precious metals guy for a little bit there
Yeah,
too, and just kind of poking around.
yeah. I mean, there's like, those public miners. There's no way I would, because they pay like 3% dividends, and their cost of production is going up because you need a lot of oil to mine precious metals, and then they have the unions and they have to pay the miner, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm stuck. Like, why do I need to be involved in this? Like, give me a reason why I need to be involved. Yeah, and like, the economy's fine now, but stocks are really based on the future, and yeah, I just don't have the rosiest of outlooks about kind of the general future. Um,
Even like we talked about opening with this, like even with the election year coming up, you don't think the Democrats try to at least like juice something here and like
They can't force gas prices down. That's the unfortunate thing. You can't spoof,
yeah,
especially with their policies. So
no, and that's the other thing with like the rest of the world is OPEC, and they're doing a
yeah,
great job of telling the world who they want in power, and
yeah,
it's not Joe Biden. As much people don't want to hear it or do want to hear it, it's like oil makes the world go around, and
yeah. Especially now,
yeah,
right? It's still
they're
currently, There aren't, I don't think there's any electric powered planes being invented in our lifetime.
No, I don't. No, couldn't be.
So it's just like, even if we're all going to drive EVs here in California,
Even to that, like our electrical grid couldn't handle that. Like you see how archaic our infrastructure is with what happens with every year with our wildfires
yeah,
and what was it, PG&E up north with that whole
yeah,
debacle with their electrical grid and that starting those wildfires up
yeah. Edison sends
there.
everyone like a notice in the mail and email like every summer when it gets hot here. It's just like,
Yeah,
they literally say expect blackouts. It's not even like, hey, like it
2023.
might happen. Let's expect it. Like it's fine.
Just a normal day of life.
Yeah, no,
like,
yeah, just like it's like for like 2 weeks, like expect it. It's just like, why don't you just like figure it out?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's 2023. Why am I still dealing with rolling blackouts when you want everyone
yeah,
to drive electrical cars? Like, it just
yeah.
doesn't make
So
sense, man.
yeah, I think things, the Republican nominee is probably Trump. Um, the Democratic nominee, I don't know who. I mean, don't they have to figure that out here pretty soon? I mean, it's next year, right?
Yeah.
So it's Biden. So the Republican nominee is probably Trump. I mean, I should have looked at the Vegas odds on it. I would have liked to come to the podcast with it, but I think he's like a heavy favorite. I wonder.
Yeah, it swung last week. I keep up a little bit. It swung. DeSantis gained a few points,
No
but
shot.
I don't know
No.
who. I
No.
mean, who do
He
you?
seemed great, and then he like stepped on a stage and started talking, and he's just like the cheesiest, cringiest dude ever.
Yeah,
But
so
he's great governor,
unlikable.
good, yeah, like done a good job for Florida, from what I see. But yeah, just not a very charismatic. He's just like super cheesy. It's kind of funny. I didn't realize it. He
Did you?
kind of looks like a representable dude, and
Yeah,
you're like, but he's only good at kind of like the local stuff. When it comes to like the big stage, I don't know. There's just something about the way he talks. Yeah, he comes across as like kind of fake. I don't know.
yeah. The way he carries himself. I don't know if you saw recently too. The first debate they had. Trump called him short, and ever
Yeah,
since
he's been
then,
wearing like those heels.
yeah, he's
Like
been
this.
wearing like these big platform
Yeah, it's
cowboy boots.
yeah. On Twitter they show like what it looks like under. It's so funny. Yeah, if let's just say like Trump wins the election, yeah, I don't know what that changes. He probably kicks. I don't know how really all that works off the top of my head, but he probably tries to nominate somebody different. I don't know. Who knows? Like we have to get there. It's super hard to try to figure all that stuff out. Are they even going to let Trump run? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Not even diving too deep into politics. It's just how it affects, like you said, if someone new comes into office. How does that
Yeah, if
affect
someone new comes
our?
in office, are they even going to be able to pass anything?
Yeah,
Because our tax code is only good up to 2025. So
if Trump is the nominee, do
he
that?
probably tries to extend that, which
Yeah,
I think would be good. I like it. It's actually not great for California though because of the salt cap, but I think in general it did lower tax bills for middle class people. Um, so I liked it, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. If Trump wins, what happens to the economy?
and if Joe
The
Biden
kind of like
wins,
consensus is like I think like it should be better. You know,
you'd hope, right?
yeah. If Biden gets reelected, it's kind of like consensus is just like no, probably not.
I think it gets even worse.
Yeah, because I don't think he has him and his the people that work for him. They really can't figure out this gas price, this gas issue. Because that's another thing. There's the credit card balances. There's gas prices. It's just like, dude, I don't know, man.
So with legislation on the books or he's trying to do with the student loan forgiveness, all that.
Does
Like,
that
is there?
happen? Where are they with
I've
that?
seen like
It was
10,000.
like
I
the
think they
portal.
said
The
people.
portal like couldn't work, and I kind of stopped paying attention to all that stuff once I figured out the portal like wouldn't work.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
just
another
like,
thing.
okay.
Like, oh, this
I
just
don't
makes
have
sense.
student loans, thank God. I'm just like,
Yeah,
I don't have to check every day to see. But I have family members with student loans. We all know people with them, so
yeah,
it's just like, and the payments were frozen for a very long time, and I think they're unfroze. Right, you have to make them now.
they're unfrozen now, and this is the same person I was referring to, my buddy in the Midwest, like
Okay.
who had he also has like staggering student loan debt.
That's
I
the killer.
physically gasped
Yeah,
when
no, it's the
he
killer.
told me the amount of student loans he has.
Mhm.
And because it was just in passing conversation of like, he's like, oh, I'm super bummed that the whole student loan forgiveness thing is not happening, and I have to make my payments soon. Like,
Yeah.
he said, like,
Sucks.
oh,
No, that's tough.
it's as much as my mortgage. And I was thinking to myself, how is this even? He's the federal side's adding up and the state side, and I don't know. Like you said, I don't know where they're finding the money for this or how people are paying this, but the consumer does not fail. Keeps making payments.
Yeah. I don't know if the minimum payment thing works for the student loans though.
Average
Student
is like
loans are-
$200 a
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What are the term on those things? Like, can you like? I think you can like refi them too, right?
Yeah, you can roll them over every kind of couple months. You can not a couple months, every like year or so. You can kind of revisit it.
God.
But
I'm so grateful. I don't have to worry about that. And it's
that's
not,
notable Georgia alum. Well, not so notable. Big in the poker world, if you know Kerry Katz. He won a couple EPT events. Big in the Bahamas in their cash games, but he got his money from student loans. He's like a private student loan lender, and he's the number 5 lender in all the country. And he just
said he was going to college.
He went to college and then like kind of came out of it and was like, oh, people are going to keep going to this. Like, I'm going to just start investing in it and become a student loan vendor. And he became
I get what you're saying. So he invested in a student loan lender.
Yeah, so that's how he grew
I think all that's backed,
and
then it's all backed by Sally Mae anyways.
Yeah.
So it's fine. So you're just that's such an amazing business because the private lenders themselves don't take any risk.
You can't just.
It's like the mortgage lender. Like when when I got my mortgage lender doesn't take any risk. Everything's backed by Fannie Mae. He just fishes it out of Fannie Mae, and Fannie Mae takes care of it. And if I don't pay it, it's not like
they're not hurt by it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. So got it. So that's so smart.
It's one of those things, a business that is always going to be around.
Yeah,
you can't. I mean, mortgages get passed around. The debt collectors,
of course,
get forgiven. All of that, but student loans, they can't.
Yeah, can't.
They follow you everywhere.
Yeah, you can't declare
bankruptcy.
Yeah, you can't bankrupt them. It's the only
one.
Holy smokes, man! Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, so there's a lot of things, and yeah, with just rates being so high, and they say they're going to keep them around higher for longer. I don't think they're going to lower them before the election unless they have to. God, it's going to squeeze a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to be squeezed, and maybe rates stay high for the next couple years, but I think eventually we'll see. I'm trying to fight because there's one side of the argument. Grantham was on a podcast, and he said that there are rate cycles last in 40-year periods.
Yeah.
We had from 1980 to 2020-ish, we just had rates going like this. Eventually, they were zero for like a decade.
Yeah.
But the previous 40 years before that, they had the rise because America was growing. We were post World War II. There was a ton of inflation. I mean, we like our parent, the grandma parent story. My mortgage was 17%. It's like that's like we're like pretty much back to that. So like there's some people that are like we could be. I mean, we're at 8% today. So it's like why not 10? We could get there.
Double digits is very possible.
I mean, at this point. So, yeah, there's an argument to be made that we are in this cycle of we will have high rates for like the next 15, 20 years.
With wages the way that they are, who's buying a home? Like, those aren't going up anytime soon.
Prices have to come down. Eventually, who knows? But prices have to come down,
This goes back to our
So like, yeah,
inventory,
when grandma bought her house for a 17% mortgage rate, the house was worth like $3,000, so
yeah,
that's the only way it works out. So that's what the Fed's trying to do. Like they're trying their hardest, but they can't do it because it takes time. It takes so much time. Like, and I think it's going to take a few years, but eventually I think rates go back to zero.
Again, time that the consumer does not
over
have.
I think over the medium term, I think, yeah, I'm trying to fight. It's like, are we in like this rising rate cycle? Is it going to be like 2 decades long? Should I get used to this? If that's the case, real estate really has to come down, because I think the only reason people are buying deals, let's forget about residential, let's look at like from an investment standpoint, is because they think that they could refi in like 6 to 9 months. What if that doesn't happen? Then you're like really screwed. Because if rates don't go down next year or even the year after, real estate prices have to come down. It's just math. Like, then we're just talking about cap rates and cash flow, right? Residential, I think, has to come down too. Because same thing, the only reason you're buying a house right now, I mean, maybe you have kids and you have to and you qualify, but your realtor is telling you that you could refi in a year.
I just don't see where it has to come down, though, because like you said, we go back to there's no inventory of housing. Like KB Homes, like they can't build houses. Their CEO came out and said
they
we
don't
can't
want
build
to.
houses fast enough,
and they don't want to because they hardly make any money on them.
Yeah,
and they're using crap to build them anyways, and they still can't make money. The walls are like it's all crap, dude, and they still can't make money on them. Yeah, the only like new home builds are like in places that people don't really want to live.
No, Riverside.
Yeah, in California.
No offense to our
and our
Inland Empire people. Shout out the IE 909, baby.
Oh no. Oh no.
But like you said, no one wants to live out there.
Yeah, sorry.
It's Norco, Corona.
Yeah, as far as California. And there's like new builds out of state. And even then, it's like I see like new builds in Nevada, which I like Nevada. But like where the new builds are, it's just like I still wouldn't live like there.
No, it's
like I want to be like I just don't want to be there. Like 15-minute drive away from a grocery store. Like I just don't. Yeah, it's just not. I'm not interested in that.
I think the same thing's happening.
At my point in my life, like we're younger, but. Yeah, maybe 10 years from now, I'm like, yeah, I want to get away. But yeah.
Even if you're married, have kids, that's not a desirable place to.
Yeah, like these new builds, they aren't close to schools. They aren't, Yeah, so residential real estate is its own beast in America. Just always.
So we can debate this for probably tough. Hours, man. I don't know.
Yeah, like I bought a place. I closed on a place back in April of this, so 6 months ago, and the all-knowing truth of real estate, my estimates, up like 5%. I've made somehow, and my mortgage is 6.5% on the dot, 6.500, which is amazing.
Yeah,
because we're at 8 now. Crazy. I remember when I locked that in, I'm just like, because I qualified, I needed this, small place, condo by the beach, love the location. I qualified for it. It was a little tight, but I'm like, I'm just ready to do it. It's just something I was just ready to do it. Rates were at 6.7% going into escrow. Silicon Valley Bank fails in March during my escrow. And then my lender is able to lock in 6.5. Like literally, Silicon Valley Bank failed, and the next day rates dropped from 6.7 to 6.5, and my lender was able to get 6.5. So I saved a little bit of money there. It's like yes. And then I was like, man, because at the time I'm like, I'm locking in 6.5, but Silicon Valley Bank just failed. What if they go to like 5.5? And I'm like, but the place I got, it was a really good deal because back in the spring, people were freaking out about real estate.
Yeah.
Like And now it's like but like back in the spring, people were, that was kind of, we'll look to see like in a year if I made the right decision. I mean, I feel like I did because I have to live there for God's sakes, and I like it. But from a money perspective, we'll see. But as of right now, yeah, I got a 6.5% mortgage rate, which is lower than I could get now. And according to the Almighty's estimate, I'm up a little bit on it. Who knows? But
Another W in
bro.
in the win.
But
in
it's
the win column
right.
there.
But it's right on the beach, right? So I just figured I can't go wrong.
Yeah.
It's so I figured, nice neighborhood on the beach. That usually in the our great country of America, that's where real estate does very, very well. It's just like, yeah.
Oh, and the city's always getting bigger. With
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about things shrinking.
It's always by the beach,
Yeah.
For whatever reason, real estate can't go wrong there. Maybe office space by the beach will be good too. But isn't that crazy how like people talk about like I don't know, I struggle when people say like real estate like generally, and it's just like there's so many submarkets of it.
It's like you said, it's a very nuanced conversation that people
Yeah.
kind of gloss over. And
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, like just buy any type of property, and you'll never regret it." And I'm like, "There's countless times where I've seen people regret it."
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some bad land deals you can do, like where shit doesn't work out. You think that there was something there and there wasn't. It's just.
Well, it's all depending on like. There's a deal recently here in Huntington where like it wasn't zoned correctly, so someone went out of pocket on it, and usually those are zoned for. Well, you want them zoned commercially so you can put a duplex on it for
get more units on it.
Yeah, so then
they end up just having to like build a mansion. It's just zoned for residential, and
it
it's
ended up getting zoned for just residential, and he spent like probably over $2 million more than he needed to because he couldn't go back on it. So
oh man, sucks.
Buy any type of property, they say.
Yeah, dude, you'll be fine. Yeah. Anything else?
No, nothing that I've got for. That's everything on the docket, man. Do you have anything else that's on the mind over there?
What do you think about? Because I know you're somebody that's super well traveled, and you were thinking about moving out of state. Where are you kind of at with it now? And obviously, you have a situation where, your family's here, and work with your family works out for you here. But what are you thinking? And do you still want to stay here, being taxed 10%?
Yeah, so
paying $7 gas prices, and at least you're in Orange County. I'm the LA guy.
True.
So
I'll rephrase the question a little bit of if I'm long term on or if I'm long California.
Yeah. Like, where do you think is California okay? We have a really good governor here, so
he's doing it again. He's making it political. He's doing it. So for me personally, where I'm at in my current state or my situation, I cannot leave the state.
Okay.
Not because of any bad reasons. It's just the wife's family's from here.
There you go.
You know that, very close. Compete in a sport that's water dependent, so I need the water. But long term California, I'm not long in terms of like a 5-year period. There's I don't think a chance that I'll be here.
5 years. That's pretty. That's pretty
very recent. Like
really. Why is that? Why do you think?
I think like kind of
what are you thinking about it?
We were talking about tax situations, things like that, like
franchise tax board, baby. Yeah,
the FTB. You gotta love them.
Real estate prices. I mean, at some point you want to have a family or like a lot of space and a yard. Geez, a yard in California?
No, like
it's at least $1 million.
The estimates there. We were going through and looking at places. I'm not paying $1 million to live in Lakewood.
Yeah, like I agree. That's ridiculous. It's
rough part.
Yeah, ridiculous. Lakewood should be an affordable city where, like, I mean, for decades and decades. Long Beach, Lakewood,
Yeah.
these
Affordable markets to
yeah,
be
these
in.
were middle class, normal people. You didn't have to be a hot shot. You didn't have to be a lawyer or a doctor to be able to buy these places. It's just,
No.
yeah, now you need to be a doc. Yeah, now you got to be a hot shot.
Even
To,
anywhere up in like the South Bay is
oh, dude,
still out of the question. It's
everywhere's out of the question,
yeah.
literally. And if you're going to move to a part of California, sorry, Riverside, where it's 110 degrees for 3 months out of the year, why? I think Phoenix is a lot cooler than Riverside.
Yeah. It's one I would much rather be in like
I think
the desert or
Summerlin in Las Vegas is a lot cooler than Riverside in
yeah.
the Inland Empire, and real estate prices are lower. And Arizona, their state tax is not that high, but you know what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
like there's Texas, but if you wanted to still live close to California, that's why people are moving to Nevada, Arizona. It's fucking hot out there, but
Yeah. I think uh Arizona would be if we had to move anywhere besides
Arizona's nice. It
just
kind of gets a bad. I gave Arizona a bad rap back in my past life. I think that was it's kind of like a grown up in California thing.
yeah.
You kind of want to give Arizona a bad
Just
rap.
pick on them.
I got Arizona, but it's nice. Like it's actually pretty cool there.
Yeah.
In the summers, you kind of have to find somewhere else to travel to. Realistically, you don't want to be hanging out there in July and August unless you just want to chill in your house and watch Netflix. Because or just do indoor activities. But yeah, outdoor activities are the best, man.
Yeah.
So that's what would be tough because. So man, it's just real estate prices. Yeah, what about gas prices in California? You love
Oh,
those,
dude, I think gas prices. You mentioned
amazing.
earlier, like
It's amazing,
it
right?
sways elections for like a good reason. Like
And it sways
having
people's decisions to be here because
yeah,
it's literally $7.
7.35 on the corner of my local gas station.
Joke.
It's in Orange County.
Yeah, where it shouldn't
Usually
be
it's
that
cheaper
bad.
than you guys in LA.
Yeah, should be. Yeah, LA, we're right there. Yeah.
But outside of that, that's I think one of the biggest driving factors of just and I think between the two of us, like we both make like a decent amount of money to
Yeah.
like live a normal life anywhere else, but because we live here, it's doesn't seem like we're
Yeah.
doing that great.
And then there's kind of the thing because you don't work for a California based company. So I'm
Yeah.
not even sure if you living in California factors into the comp that you have. What I'm saying is, I work for
Yeah.
a firm in LA. They know that they have to pay me more because it's like they understand like we're in LA, like they have to pay me more. So you could effectively pick up everything and move and you'll make the same. It's
Yeah.
different for me.
Very much
Like
so.
maybe I haven't really looked into it, but I guarantee if I took the job that I have right now with similar firms, similar apples to apples, and went to a Phoenix, I'd probably make less money
Yeah.
on paper, but with adjustments and all that, probably maybe make maybe it's all we're just spitballing here, and I think everyone understands that concept.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of gets people in LA, Santa Monica, Venice is like, I make X, which is great money, but you live there and you're paying $3,500 a month for an apartment, and it's just like it's tough.
Yeah, it's a very personal decision. Like you
Yeah,
mentioned, it's
exactly.
not even like a
But it's like that job may be specific to that city and that industry,
yeah.
and you probably can't pick up and get the same tech job in Nevada.
No.
I don't think it's not at all.
I wouldn't
I don't think there's nothing. It's casinos and hotels.
Yeah, I guess the only one that
Maybe
would be picking up would be Arizona, where they're even that would be kind of manufacturing because they're moving a lot of semiconductors there. Like NVIDIA's opening up their big production plant there.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be the only one where you can kind of
I think the change really becomes when more companies say, I'm out of LA.
Yeah.
Fully. And why they stay is interesting. Why they stay is actually kind of interesting to me.
Tell me more. Why is that? Or do you have an inclination of why?
Yeah, there's still a lot of medium-sized businesses that still stay in California, and they they are fully transparent with the fact that they don't like it. I think they're just scared to make the move. They're scared that their key employees won't follow.
Yeah.
Once roots are crazy, once you plant your roots, it's just like anything. It's just like a tree. It's just like, it's got to get really bad to pick everything up and move. And it's really the bigger businesses that can. And we've all seen the headlines, even like years ago, Hewlett Packard, Toyota,
Yeah.
there's been numerous companies that get out of California. I think like Tesla, but then like Tesla come back low key.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of cap there. But, there's a lot of, it's more residents leaving, right?
Yeah.
Work from home people leaving. Maybe you can find another comparable job in another city, but I think it's more work from home people leaving California.
I think most people came back too.
A lot of people came back because it's like, gotta get back in the office. No more, being in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Get back to the office.
I had a call with one of our contractors. Lived in New York his whole life. Lived in SF his whole life, and he just recently moved to Jackson Hole, just because
Wyoming.
he's like, I'm big into like not surfing, but he's like, I'm big into snowboarding.
Yeah, it's nice.
So
there.
I was like, really, I can do it almost all the time,
Yeah.
and I just love being out there. Remote work.
Yeah.
And he's one of those guys that's just never going to go back to SF or New York or LA or whatever those hubs are, just because of it's
don't
mobility.
Need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to.
What are you missing out on? Being in the city. Happy hour. Is that you kind of get to an age where happy hour is just like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Also, see if your activity that you like to do is from when he was living in SF, it's a 3-hour drive to Tahoe or whatever it was, compared to him just like hopping on a board.
Plus those lift tickets and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's plenty of places that I would for sure like move to that we've talked about.
Arizona, really.
Arizona's big just because family's close. It's easy to get back to.
Not Nevada. Too much degeneracy out there.
Yeah, the degeneracy.
Casinos.
We're also big like Havasu people.
Nevada,
So
dude.
in the summertime, we'll go to Lake Havasu.
Good luck. You think buying a home in Orange County is tough? Good luck buying a home on the Nevada side of Havasu, bro.
Yeah.
It's like that real estate is so overpriced.
It's comical
because
my wife's dad, my father-in-law, is trying to buy a place out there. It's hilarious.
The California side, more affordable than the Nevada side because of residency.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Oh,
wow.
Dude, Nevada 0% state income taxes.
Yeah, just that little.
And if you're on the Nevada side of Havasu, what's the drive to LA?
That's same as the one from California.
Exactly, but how long is it?
Oh, 5 hours.
Yeah. So
not bad at all.
And you're on the Nevada side, 0% state income tax. Dude, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I mulled over moving to Nevada. There's one part that's super cool, but didn't work. For work here for now, but man, I have to experience all the great things with LA. I mean, the homelessness that they show on the news is real. It's all real.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not a joke.
It's so bad. Just the trash. It just smells so bad everywhere. I mean, truly, it is so bad right now. Long time LA people, like, I'll admit it, everybody knows, but it's just something that we deal with, and it's just, how do you raise a family in like West LA? And if you want to go on a walk with your daughter, have to deal with homeless people screaming, and tents, and just needles. I mean, and it's not just, it used to be, oh, the homelessness is just in Skid Row, we're just going to keep it there. I mean, it is so bad.
It's ballooned out of control.
I mean, there's homeless camps 3 blocks away from homes that are selling for $1.7 million.
Yeah.
Where do you go on a walk with your kids? Like, I just don't understand the quality of life.
I'm always really confused on why people enjoy living in the city like that. Just because of, like you said, like the school systems
Yeah,
are,
like the
again, not that
LA
great.
Unified.
Like I have to deal with homeless people yelling at me and like possibly just following me home. Like,
Yeah, as you know, for me and you, like it's fine, and it's just like I can deal with homeless. I hate it, but it's just like whatever. But
yeah,
I'm just thinking like if I have kids, it's just like I don't. I grew up just like walking around my neighborhood. You know, it's a crazy concept.
like you, like I used to be out. So like just my brother and I, or like I'll just ride my bike anywhere.
yeah,
Just being able to do that, you can't nowadays.
Chanel, like absolutely not. And it's you're gonna have to like dodge a tent. No, seriously, like it's just it's so bad. I don't understand it. You know when you're in LA when you get off the freeway every time.
Yeah,
It's funny. I don't know when's the last time you went.
probably. I think it was like 6 months ago. Probably, I went to a podcast recording. It was on Melrose. They were doing a live show, and I was, oh, I'll just go check it out. Again, like you mentioned, like pull up
You knew.
the parking. It's
Would you pay like $20 for parking?
home. I was actually not metered, so I found a spot,
Oh wow.
which was great. Yeah, it never happens in LA, right? Like, but to that extent, like, homeless people down the road. I come out from the show, 2 cars get broken into, like
Jesus.
laptops stolen, wallets stolen. Not mine, thank God, but like two cars behind me, like directly behind me, just broken into. Homeless people, migrants, whatever you want to call them.
It's just yeah. So for me, I mean, I love where I'm at, and I'm just hoping that it gets better. And everyone's like, the Olympics are coming to LA, so they have, and it's just like, can we just not make it about the Olympics? Can we just like make it better for like the people that, because that's like,
For the sake of it.
yeah, the Olympics are coming, so like they have to clean the city up. It's just like, how about like we just clean the city up because we should? There's trash everywhere. It is disgusting.
Well, I mean, you see what's happening in SF right
The
now.
beaches are disgusting in LA. Venice, there's like people living in the public bathrooms.
Even closer to you, like down on the Long Beach boardwalk.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
it's disgusting.
if I ride through there sometimes, or I'll run through, I'm like looking around, like this is actually a real thing. Like homeless people are like just living here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On the sand, it's perfect.
Yeah.
80 degrees year round. You have restrooms, showers.
Yeah.
Jump in the ocean. That's your shower.
No, like you don't have to pay taxes on anything.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Beachfront property.
Dude, that's it. I had it wrong.
You said it. Real estate by the water wins. You know.
Put a tent up, dude. There you go.
I love it. So you're not thinking about going anywhere anytime soon?
I'm not,
You'll be
just
here
because,
for a while.
you know, for work and professionally,
Yeah.
I love it, and my family's here.
Yeah.
You know, I love the weather. Love playing pickleball. I think SoCal, even though I don't play much pickleball in LA, I play mostly in Orange County, but you know, similar weather and whatnot. So it works out, man. You could play 12 months a year here.
True.
Only place in the US you could play pickleball 12 months a year.
Yeah.
So that's super important. I'll pay taxes and pay $7 in gas, I guess, for that.
For now.
I'll do it for my family, I guess. And if you talk to really anyone, it's just like that's really what it comes down to. It's just like family, and then maybe an outdoor activity. If you don't have those two, I would be out
Gone.
I'd be out so
The
fast,
2 things
bro.
we named of like my wife's family's close,
Yeah.
and I do a water sport. Your family's close. You play outdoor sports.
Yeah.
We're stuck here.
Yeah. And yeah, weather is super nice.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're gonna live in California, live in like the spots where you could take advantage of weather, because it gets super hot here.
Yeah.
Especially, it gets hot here in the summer. You could live by the beach. It'd be like 90 degrees.
I think this podcast, I think we're just turning it into
California.
a Riverside slander podcast. Take
Sorry.
advantage of the good weather. Don't go to Riverside.
Dude, I seriously don't understand. Like, there's actually like some very some pretty like successful medium-sized businesses out in the Inland Empire, like in logistics and manufacturing, and like their
Yeah.
roots are out there. Which is awesome because they've been able to build kind of what's left of what is out there, man. Because I mean, I know people, like I have family that used to live out there and they've kind of been moving closer. But yeah, like San Bernardino, Riverside, the situation out there is really rough.
Rough, man.
Yeah, it's really rough. So, which is for a lot of reasons I won't get into.
Anything else you want to leave everyone with?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. I'll be back.
We've been jamming.
Yeah,
but
how long
like
has
you
this
said,
been?
I don't. Probably an hour and a half, maybe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was hoping it wouldn't be too.
No,
Oof.
we're good though. Final words for the people. Obviously, you'll be back.
I'll be back. You know, it was a while, but we're getting our schedules dialed. I'm in Orange County every weekend, so. But yeah, if anyone ever wants to get in touch, just hit up Emmett. I'll give you my number. And yeah, I'm just chilling, bro.
Can you leave the people any lasting prediction or
Yeah.
what are we thinking here?
Yeah, just you basically know how I feel. I'm not involved in stocks. I like treasuries, which is not too exciting.
Week. I mean, next thing you know, we'll figure out.
Not too exciting. I think you could start putting on duration here. So 10-year bonds, 20, 30-year bonds. It could get ugly. I could be really wrong. But at least you're getting paid interest along the way. Oh, it's ugly. It's been ugly. It's been so bad. Look at the chart of like a 30-year bond ETF. Have you seen it?
No.
It's complete. It's so because rates have risen so fast. So you can even imagine in your mind, like 2 years ago, people were buying 30-year bonds at like 1.5%. And the longer the duration, the more volatility, right? Because it's just like, oh my God, those things are worth nothing, right? So, but I think if you start looking now, they're like at 4.95%. Damn, in like 5-6 years, we could. I think we could be in a situation where we're back to 2% rates. You know, inflation tames down.
Maybe back, baby.
And it's kind of just like, man, you could be sitting on a pretty good decision that you made, or we're in the kind of this 2-decade long. We're back to grandma Sally's 17% mortgage, and I'm completely wrong, and 30-year bonds go to like 10%. At that point, our government has to like default on its debt, because we didn't even talk about $33 trillion in debt or deficit and all this crap. And oh my God. So I think
that's next week's conversation.
Exactly. But.
All right, guys. Outside the lines, Jamie Bell is back, or we can introduce him as his real self if you'd like.
Kevin.
We'll
go by that. Yeah.
Is back. He'll be joining us more often. So
thanks for coming on, man. Bro. First in person.
I appreciate it. The first in person episode went off without a hitch. It is phenomenal. Loved this in person. Never going back now.
Yeah, no, you can't ever interview it. You have to tell everyone to fly out.
That's going to be it now. No more remote. You're flying out to California, getting it done.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Cheers.